Hey y'all, gravity, any day above ground, livid. How's everybody doing? It is terrible down here, but I feel good. Reason I haven't had any content uploaded because I usually go crazy during a week is I was sick. I was under the weather and I did not want to come up on here and sound nasally and terrible. And I give you a bad show. Plus, I think they shadow banned me, but that's not the reason why. It was mostly because I was sick. But yeah, we got to get back into it. It's hot on the election cycle, so there's going to be a lot of content coming forthwith. Boy, that ginger tea is something awful. It's something awful, but it's something great. If you never had ginger tea, that is like ancestor blessed. But yes, the ancestors, they're gonna shine on me today because hey, we are going to watch a war of words. We are going to watch and listen to two men who have a disdain for each other. Oh, yes. Yeah! We've been wanting this for years. We've wanted the full throttled responses. We wanted the diss records. We wanted to hear the ether beat in the back of our heads. And we finally got it this week. Jason Whitlock showed the entire world once again why we were lambasting him for his takes on Coach Prime. That's right, family. He actually didn't say anything about Coach Prime this week. We were actually shocked because we know how he is with black men that are somewhat successful. He decided to, since, football season's over, he got to get at somebody. He went for Stephen A. Smith. Now, this has been a thing that's almost years in the making. And largely, Stephen A. Smith has said, I ain't even gonna respond to this man. Screw this man. But I guess once you start attacking Stephen A's accomplishments, he's got to come outside. And he came outside, and we're gonna listen to his response. And we're gonna have supplemental articles and comments from other commentators. Now, I'm just gonna warn y'all now, I'm staying neutral on this because this is two conservatives who are yelling at each other, and I ain't got no war for that. So I'm going to stay neutral, and I hope you will too. But I'm sure you guys are going to have opinions. And let's see who's in the building before we start. Touring Rain, hello. Jerry Bedford, hello. Wallow J, hello. Patricia Slade, hello. Quasi Blackstar, hello. Ty Quinn Campbell, hello. Denise, hello. Shamika Gray, hello. Bibi Rodriguez, hello. Yes. Let's begin. Jason Whitlock out here tweeting like a scorned female. That's right. We just gonna call it what it is. I don't see him going at women like this. But I guess you crave men's attention more.
Let me go here. There's a growing concern in
family. For some odd reason, we don't know. But why he picked this week? Maybe because of Cat Williams, I guess. He picked this week to go after him. I don't know why. Did something happen? Did he say something out of line? Because last I checked, Stephen A. Smith don't even talk about this man like that. I mean, he called you a fat bastard maybe a couple months ago, and that you must have remembered it. That's what it was. You remembered it. So we have all these videos lined up here. We're going to take a look at some of them because I don't know, you don't want to hear this man's voice all the way. So we're going to actually start with this one from January 4th. because today's January 12th. So we're going to start here. A lot of people are saying this is where it started echoing for Stephen A. Smith. Fair use.
He actually knows about sports, but someone installed him as the number one voice of sports. That's what Cat Williams is talking about. Kevin Hart is an okay comedian. Someone installed him as the face of comedy and gave him a deal and put things in place for him.
I've never heard anybody, even if they gave him all the opportunities in the world, they've never said he's the face of comedy. Even Hollywood was stupid enough to put that moniker on him. So where'd you get that from? And Cat Williams never alluded to. Why are y'all taking this man's words out of context? That's not even what he said. He said, and I quote, "Nobody knew him, but he came to LA with 2 deals." People still have to consume it. People have not been consuming Kevin Hart content the way they did at the beginning. But okay. He's going to start. He's going to start lying already, but this is how conservatives are on TV, YouTube, and social media. They start lying, the black conservatives, but continue.
For him to have all this success because they could control Kevin Hart. That's what happened to Stephen A. Smith. And if you go read Straight Shooter, you can see it everywhere. If you read his memoir, it's Stephen A. Smith. And again, it's like all Stephen A. Smith, if you go read his memoir and listen to the stories he tells about getting a basketball scholarship to Winston-Salem State, it's so mind-blowingly preposterous and stupid and fabricated. I'm like, holy cow, how did they let him tell these lies? Or whoever wrote it, who wrote these lies?
That's what Stephen A. Smith heard, and he started getting pissed. So now you're going to discredit this man's history. Okay.
He went down and had a scrimmage and hit 17 straight shots, and Big House Games gave him a scholarship on the spot. This is Division II basketball, Winston-Salem State. The school is poor. Big House Games has written books about how little money he had for scholarships. But someone who didn't pee a drop in high school basketball, didn't pee a drop at the Fashion Institute school that he allegedly played junior college basketball at, didn't pee a drop there, somehow sits out a year and goes and plays in one scrimmage game, and he gives a date of the scrimmage game. It's like it's in the middle of their season. They bring Stephen A. Smith up for a scrimmage at the end of their season, around NCAA or conference tournament time. They bring him up, and he participates in the scrimmage and makes 17 straight shots, and they give him a full-ride basketball scholarship at a school that struggles to give out full-ride scholarships to more than 3 or 4 players on the team. Stephen A. Smith got one for making 17 straight shots in a scrimmage at the end of someone's regular season when he drove up from New York. You didn't play in high school, or you didn't play in high school. You didn't do anything at the Fashion Institute that had a junior college team. Fashion Institute is some gay college in New York that had
Gay college. So Fashion Institute of Technology is now a gay college because it's a school for designers. So that makes it gay. Without schools like that, sir, you wouldn't be wearing that horrible outfit you're wearing right now. They're so tolerant, aren't they? The black conservatives. Let me ask you something. This is a man you want to have a big platform to speak for you. I need this answered for me. And don't come over here and tell me that he don't represent us. Bullshit. Because when you don't come outside and say this guy does not represent us, you're telling me he represents you. I know the demographics of FIT. Right there on 7th Avenue, a couple blocks away from MSG. If he went there, maybe he was trolling for pussy. Who knows? If he used that to get into Winston-Salem, shout out to him for that. We all had to start somewhere. But why are you this pissed?
Had a junior college basketball team that Stephen A. Smith says he played on, although he never played.
So there's that. Look at this. Yeah, he even said something. Jesus. He over here. Look at this one. Now this one he did yesterday. Well, we'll play that one in a minute. So now he had to go get his buddy. He had to go get his buddy. And now he's going to say something about Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp. Fair use.
And did that because that's what Jamie Horowitz told him to do, and that's how he could get his foot in the door with Skip and then build out his own thing where he can actually do what he wants to do. And it's got that he's more talented, more authentic, and better than Stephen A. Smith. And like Stephen A. Smith wants to move into this entertainment lane, and what he does not realize is Shannon's already beating there. He will never. And Stephen, and that's not a knock on Stephen A. Smith.
Man's literally been on TV and in movies, but okay, fine. I guess I give you right. Shannon's better than him. He literally has IMDb credits from major motion pictures. But okay. Again, I'm not caping for Stephen A. Smith, but I just don't like when people have access to information and they're just going to blatantly lie to fit a narrative.
Because Stephen A. can do a little bit of what Shannon's doing, but he's not as good as Shannon in the lane that Shannon has built here. No.
Shannon, where Stephen A. Smith is really good, though, is being an orator. As someone that actually liked his show years ago on ESPN2, Speak Frankly with Stephen A. Smith, I think it was called. He was good at the monologue. Yeah, he was good at the monologue. He was actually pretty good at it. I enjoyed it. I was probably one of the more loyal viewers of that show because he would bring in athletes that were not necessarily from the four major sports, namely boxing here and there. But the thing that I really do like about
let me throw this in, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. Don't lose your point. But the difference between Shannon and Stephen A. is gravitas. Because of that Hall of Fame football career, there's a difference. Cat Williams showed it multiple times. He basically was arguing like, Shannon, in the football world, you're like me. In the comedy world, we're both Hall of Famers. There's not everybody. People like Stephen A. because of the position he's been put in by ESPN, and they have to deal with him, but they don't really like him. People are looking at Shannon and are feeling like, man, he earned this. He was a great Hall of Fame football player. And then anybody that's watching this show is like, hey, this dude done put in the work as a broadcaster, and he does excellent interviews.
Yeah, I mean, look, Stephen A. Smith can be a bit of a blowhard. He bloviates. And a couple of weeks ago, he made the speech about immigration, thinking, okay, I'm going to really step out here. It was one of the most nonsensical, ignorant statements I've ever seen. It got picked apart by everybody. It's like, Stephen, jock straps and balls and lines and baskets. You don't really know all this other stuff. Stay within your limits. This is not what you're good at. You're not Black Peter Jennings here, okay? You're not Sam Donaldson. Give me a.
So yeah, just gonna let. All right, Whitlock. So you just gonna let this man? Poor man. When they break this fat bastard boy. Woo, when they break him, we're gonna keep this clip. So I know you don't like this man, but you gonna let him say that he finna turn it on you when he turns on you, sir. Don't worry. Nobody's ever looked at Stephen A. Smith and said he's a Black Peter Jennings or Black Sam Donaldson. What is that? I've never even heard that term before anywhere in life. That somebody's the Black Sam Donaldson. What? And you
Right. One thing I like about Shannon is he's an interviewer who lets the guy being interviewed have their viewpoints. He'll push back here and there, but it is absolutely something that gets on my nerves when I hear interviewers start to try to argue with others' opinions.
Your man is doing. Your man does that every day. What the fuck are you, man? Okay. All right.
If Cat Williams says something that I don't like, I might interject, but I will always say, Cat, have your opinion, expound upon it. This is not
What? Say that again.
others' opinions. If Cat Williams, when I hear points, he'll push back here and there, but it is absolutely something that gets on my nerves when I hear interviewers start to try to argue with others' opinions. If Cat Williams says something that I don't like, I might interject, but I will always say, Cat, have your opinion, expound upon it. This is not meant to be an argument. It's not a debate show. But also going back to this point, Jason, when you have a setting or a format where you could be a 5-minute interview or 5-hour interview, like it was with Charleston White and Cam Newton, you can get into a lot of things and you can allow your subject to expound.
Oh, God. Okay. Oh, God. Here we go. Let's see what this is.
Industry. They're comfortable distorting the truth. They're comfortable with exaggerations. They're comfortable with telling farcical stories. And maybe they're comfortable because we believe them. I mean, he sat in a crowd. And if you go watch that whole interview he's doing with the one white dude, there's other journalists in this crowd. I think he's at a library and he's promoting his book. There's other journalists in this crowd listening to these farcical stories. And no one is saying, like, that don't add up. What are you doing? He's comfortable telling, and he's calling out. You got to go watch this interview. He's so arrogant and so over the top.
This dude's calling somebody arrogant and over the top. This dude is calling someone arrogant and over the top. Dude, just because you played at Ball State, you think you were given carte blanche to criticize Deion Sanders and what he does in the front office? When you've never held a position of teaching young players how to get to the next level? You think because you can look at some stats and some highlights, you think you can be an expert on what someone's going through day to day on the football field? Hell, then I'm an expert. This guy is talking about arrogance and being over the top. All right.
I just want to thank this guy for coming out and blah. Who buys this? Stephen A. is a myth. Stephen A. is a plant. You remember when Kwame Brown kept...
Now he's a myth. Well, you know what? That's the first myth I've seen that's real. Okay, he might be a plant. So what? You are too. Or we're going to be honest, sir. Jason Whitlock, you're a plant. Ever since you failed at Undefeated, you just popped up out of nowhere. First, you were on Fox News and running around trying to espouse your opinions, which is funny as hell because then they hired you and you messed up there and damn near almost brought the company down on that side. Then you went to Barstool, you damn near almost brought the company down. You went to Outkick, damn near almost brought the company down. Now you're at the Blaze, and things like this are going to not have people frequent your content, which means you could bring it down. But you're right. You're right.
Insinuating like David Stern and the NBA gave Stephen A. instructions on how to criticize Kwame Brown. When Kwame was saying that, I didn't fully understand it.
Okay, so we've proven that Kwame Brown has not the best intentions and he has lied on things, but okay, you're going to quote Kwame Brown. Jason Whitlock, let's ask the question. When Kwame Brown came on the scene, right? He was like the talk of the town when he was going to Stephen A. Smith, right? What happened in that next year? People started poking holes in the things he was saying, and then he just disappeared into obscurity. Or did you forget that? It's funny that you keep bringing up these people, which we're going to highlight later. You keep bringing up these people that have no social relevance. But later you're going to criticize people that have social relevance, even though you may not agree with what they say. Hell, I don't even agree with what they say, but they kind of co-signed what this man said, but we're going to let him continue.
Now I do. That's the job. All these guys have batteries put in their back. And it's their job to distort and lie.
What are you doing? You're doing the same exact thing, sir. Jesus Christ. I love it when they project themselves. It's the funniest thing. Do me a favor, Jason. Hey, how about you open your eyes wider? Open your eyes wider. Show me something.
I'm a little out of breath. We're going to bring on...
Play that again.
In their back. And it's their job to distort and lie. I'm a little out of breath. We're going to bring on...
He said I'm out of breath. Whoo, wait a minute. you were sucking that much? You were sucking that much wind? Is he serious? He's serious.
Come on with it.
That's amazing.
He can't be serious. I'm out of breath. We keeping that. Oh, we are taking that clip. He said he's out of breath talking. Family, he's out of breath talking about another man. He's out of breath talking about another man. Let me ask the chat room, beautiful black people. When's the last time you were out of breath talking about another person, another man? Ladies, when was the last time you were out of breath talking about another female? Oh, you're right, Wallow J. You're right.
Pause. He paused. I said pause, nigga. Mind you, LeBron is spending 2.5.
How you out of breath talking about a man? How do you sit there and you're out of breath talking about somebody that you don't like? Now, I don't like a lot of politicians, but I ain't gonna sit up there and damn near have to go get CPR because I'm gonna just constantly talk about them. Oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. Now, mind you, I've not seen that clip, so that's why I was laughing so hard. I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he said that. Here we go. He's still talking about this man. You know what? Dion did not give him the attention he wanted. I told Dion, hey, you might well go on Shay because you know Shannon Shaw gonna ask him. I need to see that. The streets need that. Then he gonna complain talking about some. Oh, why didn't Shannon have me on the show? Why didn't you have me on the show so I could refute what they say? All right.
Anytime I listen to Stephen A. Smith, and this is what I was getting at. How did he become the face, the voice of sports media? The guy.
Because as much as we don't like him, we gotta admit he knows how to play the game. He played the game correctly. He crossed over. Again, you lied on that man. That man crossed over so well. He got IMDb credits, major motion pictures, major TV shows. We have to give the man his credit. All right.
Knows virtually nothing about sports. He's never, other than maybe occasionally, back in the old days, he might have a trade rumor or something like that. But actually understanding what's going on in sports, understanding the decision making of any organization,
you don't know that either. At least when he was with the Philadelphia Inquirer, he could go talk to Pat Croce and them. Sir, go ahead. Talk. Go ahead.
He's always embarrassingly wrong, embarrassingly bombastic, embarrassingly stupid. He's quick to play the race card to be popular over Twitter. I do actually get the Stephen A phenomenon, and he's a plant, just like Cat Williams said about Kevin Hart. They don't put the most talented and most accomplished in those positions. They put the biggest buffoons and the easiest to control in those positions. Anyway, your thoughts on that clip and the stuff I talked about last week about Stephen A and his fictionalized comic book memoir.
Yeah, I mean, the word bloviate comes to mind when I think.
But I bet if he'd have said something about your book, it would have been a problem, right?
I see clips like that, but with Stephen A. Smith, look,
wait a minute. Okay. Jason Whitlock. I have a question. I just have a question. Maybe you can. Where? Here's your book. This is your book. It's called Jason Whitlock, Love Him, Hate Him. Most of us never heard of this book. Not even gonna hold you. Most of us did not even know this book existed. I clicked it. Barnes and Noble don't even have it anymore. Where the hell are we gonna buy this book at? He likes this Chinaman because this Chinaman takes shots at black people, and then he run outside talking about, oh, that's not racist. Okay, when that Chinese man turns on you, or that Asian man, let's be politically correct here. When he turns, Torian, stop it. Do you understand what he had to do to get that cover perfect and approved?
It was hard work, and I worked hard.
My ass bleeds for you.
Do you understand how much work that took? Let that man have it. Ain't my fault. His butt is on the is in the binding. It ain't my fault, sir. Now you got me curious. Before we continue playing this, I want to see what the reviews look like. Dude, your book don't even come up. Huh? Why does your book not even come up? Here we go. Let's see what Goodreads said. Jesus Christ. Hold on a second. Hey, baby. Man. Kind of thing. Never mind. I was going to ask my wife because she uses this Goodreads website. So I'm guessing it's reliable. Bruh. Y'all see that rating, right? 2.75. Why'd it get 2 stars? Let's see. Well, let's start here. Let's see what the 4 stars says. Nobody wrote it. So nobody wrote any reviews. So they just wrote shit. Okay. That's crazy. He has 3 books. We did not know this. I don't want none of that. Unstoppable, the Kansas Jayhawks journey to the NCAA title. This got to be somebody else. This got to be somebody else. I'm going to assume that's somebody else. How much work did you do on this? But anyway, so there's that. His book got 2.75. But let me see what Stephen A. book looked like. Let me see what that book looked like. Wow. 4.16. They made sure to highlight that. Y'all probably can't see it. We finna help you. They made sure to highlight that though. Right there. Yeah, him and Stephen A. Smith, Black Spider are the same age. Okay, so Goodreads is reliable. All right, cool. Yeah, they made sure to say he's son of Caribbean immigrants, but okay. All right. So we got that. 4.16 is damn good, but shout out to him. Let's continue.
Stuff. I talked about his ESPN2 show that I was a pretty loyal viewer to. I always thought his commentaries on Allen Iverson back in his days were actually very good. I enjoyed his NBA coverage. But this current form of Stephen A. Smith, what I will say is this. He says so damn much, but so damn little of substance.
Like your man up top, but okay.
And look, when you hear certain people take certain political stances, whether it's the vaccine or on immigration, racial and cultural issues, you do start to realize, and Cat Williams got into this about, are they saying what is on script? Are they a puppet? Or are they allowed to ever step out of line? And Stephen A. Smith, in many respects, at one time I thought was a character. Unfortunately, like many people at that stage, he now becomes a caricature. It's this fine line.
Like your man up top. Hey, Mr. Dumbass on the bottom, we've never looked at Stephen A. Smith for cultural commentary. Y'all keep trying to cross these people over in the lanes they have no business crossing over into. Just like your man up top, we don't look to him for cultural commentary. He's a retard. He don't know what's going on out here. He see whatever Glenn Beck and them saying on Fox News, and he says, and he just regurgitates it to y'all, and y'all pay him for it. That takes no skill. He couldn't sit in front of somebody and really have a conversation without saying woke, DEI, CRT, or any other of the buzz acronyms. He can't do it. He's going to bring up Chicago. He's going to bring up black on black crime. He's going to bring up everything that Republicans and conservatives want to hear. And I guarantee you, once he gets rid of all of that, he can't sit there and have a conversation because he doesn't know what goes on out here. He doesn't stay out here. He goes to the studio, goes home, goes on DoorDash, gets dinner for that night, the morning, and that afternoon. And then he just looks at the clock when he has to go back on the air. Because this man was so successful, he had to leave a cushy job in LA to do internet commentary for Glenn Beck, who has shown not to have a loyalty to his employees, even if you're a conservative. But continue.
Not going to say that I disagree with everything that he says, but then again, I don't agree with everybody 100% of the time, regardless. But Stephen A. Smith, when it comes to certain issues like the NFL and hiring practices, look, he says, again, I'll say it again, he says a lot and says very, very little.
Like you and that man. But okay. So basically, you guys have gotten the gist of why Stephen A. Smith decided now, this week, it's time to say something. And we're here for it.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
Who's ready? I know y'all got y'all's popcorn. I know y'all got it. Y'all got the good food. Shout out to MLK.
And a lot of white folk have demonstrated eloquently that they don't have no sense.
That was for Mr. I'm going to say stuff about black people, even though he should be worried about his own community, but okay. Stephen A. Smith responded. Let's hear what he said. We got it loaded up and queued up, ready to go. We are ready. We are ready. And just in case you try something with me, we ready. Fair use.
I normally don't do that, but it's necessary to do now. I've had enough of that fat bastard. That piece of shit. And I want to make sure that before I go to break, I want anyone out there who watches me, anyone out there who knows me, anyone out there, no matter what you think of me, I want you to remember, I never talk about him. I never talk about my colleague. I don't do that. This is a first, but it's necessary. And when I say don't talk about him, I don't mean don't talk about him literally. I don't get in on him like I'm about to do now. I literally called my pastor and asked for his forgiveness and understanding in advance because he's not going to recognize the person he's about to hear. I did the same when I emailed the bosses at ESPN. This is my podcast. I own and operate this. I do what I want on this podcast, but it doesn't mean that I still don't harbor a responsibility to at least give my daytime employers a heads up as to what I'm about to do. My sisters, my nieces and nephews, my boys in the industry, everybody that I could reach out to in time has been warned. It's time for me to address this. I'm only going to do it once because this bastard is worth less than a damn cockroach. He wanted my attention. He's got it. The Stephen A. Smith Show. Up next. Don't touch that dial. We'll deal with the fat bastard himself right now. Let's roll. It's about Jimmy Kimmel. Back man. Sitting in this seat. Quote from Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. From Aaron Rodgers about Jimmy Kimmel, which initially sparked this whole brouhaha was, quote, there's a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, that are really hoping that list doesn't come out. That's what I said. Couldn't find it for some reason. I apologize. Let me get back to the subject at hand. Ladies and gentlemen, as a black man sitting in this seat, the level of vitriol that I have to absorb is something that I understand 99.99% of the time. You're a former player and you want to crucify me, that's fine. You're somebody that was involved in some kind of public incident that I had to speak on, whether you're the wife or ex-girlfriend or some of a former player or whatever, I get it. You're a present-day athlete and you don't like my evaluation of what has transpired before our very eyes and what I'm witnessing, that's cool. But I swear to you, on everything that I love, it's not personal. I'm a sports reporter and sports commentator. That is what I have been throughout my career. It is my responsibility to tell you what I see through my lens, how I feel about it, what my perspective is, etc. It's not like I'm sitting at home with absolutely nothing to do and no obligation to touch on anything, but I feel the need to invoke and ingratiate my thoughts, opinions, etc., upon the world. I actually get paid to do this. And because of that, sometimes my opinions, my thoughts, my feelings, etc., are things that you would not like. But I have never lied to you. Ever. If I wrote a story or I wrote an article, it's based on the things that I've been told, what I've seen, and what I feel. It is rare that I talk about myself on a personal level because my personal life is not anybody's business and I don't get into other people's personal life. It's not something that I do. Many figures in the world of sports find themselves in personal situations, not lawlessness, not unlawful things or anything like that, but there's plenty of situations, Michael, Sherry, Juvie, where I've seen certain things and I turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to it because it's none of my business. And I leave it alone. And one of the other things that I never do, I never attack my colleagues. I might disagree with something somebody says or does, and I might have an obligation to speak on it because it's in the news or whatever, but I don't speak against my colleagues. Once humanity comes into play, that's a given. Here's the other. That's not real work. Think about this for a second. I'm supposed to be covering sports, but I make a career out of talking about my colleagues. That ain't work. That's you finding some slick way to get a check because you can't get a job. That's Jason Whitlock. That's who the hell he is. Now, I have sat back for years, at least 9 to 10 years, saying absolutely nothing about this man. I never uttered the words fat bastard out of my mouth until a few months ago. So that means that the previous 9 years, you never heard me speak on him at all. But now it's necessary. Excuse me. Because you see, if you listen to the fat bastard, I didn't play high school ball, even though my coach's name was Harvey Stoller. It was Thomas A. Edison Vocational and Technical High School. I played there my senior year. I was in a basketball tournament at Fashion Institute of Technology where I dropped 27 points and got a scholarship because the coach came calling me after that and what have you. If you listen to him, I never had a scholarship to Winston-Salem State, even though it's on the books. Just call the university. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm an honorary doctorate member. I have an honorary doctorate from Winston-Salem State University because of my contributions to Winston-Salem State. I'm called Dr. Smith. Has something to also do with the contributions that I make because I believe about upliftment. I'm an ambassador for HBCU Week, and I've partnered with Ashley Christopher and Mir Persicki in Delaware and others to generate over 10,000 scholarships in excess of over $65 million in scholarships for African Americans. But this man will tell you I'm lying. He even went so far as to say my autobiography, where I talk about my mother, my father, my sisters, the business, my hiring and firing and rehiring at ESPN. I didn't write it. I didn't write my own memoir, which, by the way, is a New York Times bestseller, something he wouldn't know anything about. Did you know that it's now on paperback? It just came out yesterday on paperback. Do you know that you can go to Amazon.com, straightttothebook.com, or a bookstore nearest you to get my book in paperback? Do you know that when people are normally selling 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 copies, I've sold over 400,000? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? But he will tell you, I didn't write it. He's seen my writing. Really? This article is an article written on Deadspin.com. The title, How Jason Whitlock is Poisoning ESPN's Black Grant Land. Because remember, Bill Simmons, who's now at Spotify doing a great job, obviously had Grantland at ESPN, and upon his departure, Jason Whitlock was supposed to take up the mantle and create a black website for folks.
All right. So what we got on that so far? My spider says Steven looks stressed out and he suddenly dropped some weight, especially in his face. Yeah. But he'd say he took up he started taking up boxing to lose some weight because, with everything. This is what I'm gathering. Everything that he did with the what happened with him with the coffee venereal disease. I think he just figured he'd start taking care of himself, and he'd been working on them long ass hours and doing all that work. He said he wasn't taking care of himself. But yeah, there's that. Donna C said trying to plug his book. I mean, it's his show. He could do it. He had like 3 commercials in this for the paperback book. But I guess because it's his book, he don't have to pay for it. So he just gave himself free advertising. But go ahead.
This article was written by a Greg Howard, published on April 27th, 2015. The same Jason Whitlock that said he's seen my writing. The same Jason Whitlock that implied that I couldn't write. The same Jason Whitlock that said that I'm lying.
Damn, look at his hairline, boy.
This article? There's a plethora of reasons why I would do so, ladies and gentlemen. One of the reasons would be because it's as in-depth as it gets about how scurrilous, how trifling, how despicable this man is. But there's also another reason that I'd pick up this article. Let me read the graph to you that it says. Keep in mind, Stephen A. can't write. This staff, the one Whitlock was praising by way of warnings that if the writers and editors wouldn't align with his vision, he would get rid of them, was not the one Whitlock wanted. The Undefeated, because that was the name of the title before it ultimately became And Escape. The Undefeated was originally meant to attract the best and brightest young black talent in the country, with Whitlock's aim set so high that he at one point seriously tried to recruit the Atlantic's Ta-Nehisi Coates, the sharpest cultural commentator in the business today. As things worked out, though, those young writers comprehensively refused to work with him. So did big-name ESPNers like Howard Bryant, Jamel Hill, and Stephen A. Smith. I couldn't write, huh? While you were on Blaze TV.
Ooh. Damn. Okay, Steven, I see you. That Deadspin article he referenced. Yeah, we got it. I want to hear the audio. Let's hear what he said. Fair use. This motherfucker will play. Why is it not playing? Why are you not playing? Damn it. It doesn't play. You bastard. We can find this really quick. We can find it quick. But the thing is, he didn't tell a lie on that, though. He didn't tell a lie on that. That man said, if you're more comfortable working for white people rather than working for me, and that sounds humorous, but it's the truth, he said, according to audio obtained by Deadspin, some black people are far more comfortable answering to a white person than a black person, no matter how black they like to pass themselves off to be. Is he serious? He literally just explained himself. We're going to read that again. If you're more comfortable working for white people rather than working for me, and that sounds humorous, but it's the truth, he said, according to audio obtained by Deadspin, some black people are far more comfortable answering to a white person than a black person, no matter how black they like to pass themselves off to be. Far more comfortable because they know a white person is going to overlook their shortcomings. And it's good for a Negro. I'm not about that. But if you're more comfortable working for a white person, I will find a white person for you to work for. We have a higher standard here. Everyone has to get on board with that, or I'm going to find a way to move them someplace else. Boy, you just sat up here and wrote You up here on audio just saying exactly who you became, sir. Continue.
Spewing that bullshit to people.
He cussing.
Did you tell them how you stood outside of First Take begging me to talk to you? Did you tell them that once the same article in Deadspin came out, weeks later you wrote a lengthy apology to me in an email, begging me to forgive you, pointing out how you were betrayed by this particular writer, so you know how I must feel that you betrayed me? Did you tell the folks that, you bitch? Did you tell them? You fat piece of shit. Did you tell them that? Got the names. We got Jamel Hill. We got Howard Bryant. You want me to bring up the other writers that we worked with? Why it took you nearly 2 years to get an article out? Because you ran that shit so bad you were running it into the ground? What a disgrace you were to John Skipper, the former boss of ESPN, or a host of others. You want me to talk about that? Because I got receipts. I got the email. Want me to talk about that? Now, just for everybody that wants to understand, how could this possibly be? Because once upon a time, I actually tried to speak up for this damn cretin. I knew he was a piece of shit. But I said, look, maybe he's misunderstood. Why would I do that, ladies and gentlemen? Because sometimes as black folks, we get in our own way. We think that all of us must be of one monolithic thinking, that we need to be completely and totally aligned. And any deviation from that brings into question our quote-unquote blackness. Martin Luther King was a man of peace. Malcolm X was by any means necessary. They can't possibly be on the same page, even though their agendas was for the upliftment and the preservation of our race of people. So I understand when we talk about stuff like this, how people can sit up there and say, how did it get to this? How did it get to this? Remember when I got suspended years ago? You know what's out there writing stuff, smiling in my face 1 minute, talking smack about me behind my back, and then ultimately writing it? It was him. Remember when I supposedly used, the people were speculating that he used the N-word on the air and all of this other stuff? He was the first one out there trying to say that I did it. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't do it on the air, in my humble opinion. I'm telling you that. However, it's not like I didn't use the N-word when I was off the air, when I was talking to my fellas, or I was talking to other folks who happened to be black. I am not a proponent of using that word often, nor am I advocating that that word be used now. I'm just acknowledging the guilt that comes associated with me in terms of when I was younger. But I was always saying we as black people communicate how we want to communicate with each other. I love John Wooten, who's been associated with the Fritz Alliance, the Fritz Pollard Alliance. Love that man. Love his contributions to the NFL. But when we would get into it in the past on rare occasions, it wasn't that he wanted the eradication of the N-word, because I support that. My issue with him was, hey, you shouldn't be encouraging the NFL to fine us and penalize us for using it amongst ourselves. How can a race of people who actually made the word iniquitous be in a position to punish us for using the word with one another? I had a problem with that, and I stand by that, but I digress. My point is, in bringing up all of that, Jason Whitlock pounced on it because that's what he does. You see, what he does is he's the one that puts himself in front of white folks. The white folks, not all white folks, not most white folks, but the white folks that dare we say may have a problem with black folks. He says,
Oh, I know y'all got some thoughts on that, what he just said. We finna play it again.
Jason Whitlock pounced on it because that's what he does. You see, what he does is he's the one that puts himself in front of white folks. The white folks, not all white folks, not most white folks, but the white folks that dare we say may have a problem with black folks. He says, I'm your man. That's what he does. in bringing up all of that, Jason Whitlock pounced on it because that's what he does. You see, what he does is he's the one that puts himself in front of white folks. The white folks, not all white folks, not most white folks, but the white folks that dare we say they have a problem with black folks. He says, I'm your man. That's what he does. You think I'm lying? Ask ESPN. Ask Fox. Ask the Kansas City Star. Ask them all. Jamel Hill, Rob Parker, Chris Broussard, Skip Bayless, yours truly, along with a host of black folks all over this country. Every single one of them will confirm what the hell I'm saying about this piece of garbage.
About that. Now I know we have no love for Jamel Hill over here, but she came out on Twitter and said, somebody asked her if she saw Stephen A. and what he said. She said, I did. Stephen A. Smith told the truth. Old boy tried to recruit a bunch of us to do some work for what was then the undefeated, and we did not want to work with him. Sports Center host Stan Verrett recalled how dysfunctional Whitlock was. Damn, she looked old. Jesus. He was planning a feature on the undefeated called Open Look, where any of us could write commentaries, Verrett wrote. We spoke about it walking on Olympic Boulevard one day. Once I saw how dysfunctional the whole enterprise was, I passed on being involved. Gregory Hampton Lee Jr., senior editor for Front Office Sports, wrote, he interviewed me for the undefeated, and it was the worst experience. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. Whew. This is getting nice. You like it. You go.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a black man, I often told y'all, I cannot imagine, as a black man, knowing our history, anything worse than a white supremacist. That is until Jason Whitlock came along.
Woo!
He's worse than them.
Woo!
He is the worst, most despicable, lying, no good, fat ass human being I have ever known in my life. And I'm going to take a break because I got more.
He got more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on YouTube. Don't go away.
So that was part 2. What y'all think about that? Oh boy. I might open the phone lines on this one. Oh wow. That's crazy. They all sitting there just upset. And I'm not even going to show y'all the Twitter comments because his stands were outside talking about how Stephen A. Smith lying and all. I'm like, bruh, that man cannot be a credible journalist if he's going to sit up there and lie on his own pass. I mean, his shit is verifiable. You could go look for it. We've seen that picture, so it can't be a lie. He clearly said he cracked his kneecap. That's why he couldn't play, but they felt sorry for him and he let him ride on the scholarship. I mean, he's literally told this story for years and nobody's ever come out and said he was lying. There's been plenty of people at Winston-Salem that he knows or went to classes with. One of them, you're going to tell me, all this time, not one of them would have come outside. Jason, you can't find one of them. Oh, yeah, we know Cat Williams started something. Now, this is going to be 2024, the year of ethering. Everybody, not everybody got some nuts now. Everybody gonna go out and start talking about everybody. All right. Sure, it's gonna be content. So that's the commercial for his book. And we're like, we're good on this.
Irrelevant. He's not important. He's insignificant, and he knows it. And he did all of this to try and bait me into all of this stuff. I know that's how people are looking at it. My family and friends and everybody thinks the same thing. My point is, I don't care. And the reason I don't care is because I've been holding it in for nearly 10 years. And so there comes a point in time where, at the very least, at least one time, you have to address it. It's necessary. It's important. Okay. And as we sit here today talking about this subject, there's certain things that we just don't need to let go. You know, we just don't need to let go, because there comes a point in time when enough's enough. And that time has arrived. Getting back into him and to really elaborate extensively on us. Ladies and gentlemen, John Skipper, the former boss for ESPN, wanted to start this website. And if you remember, when the Undefeated first came into existence, it was labeled the premier platform for intelligent analysis and celebration of Black culture and the African-American struggle for equality. That's what it was labeled as. Now that I read you that quote, let me give you a quote that this guy, Greg Howard, has a recording of Jason Whitlock saying to his staff at that time. If you're more comfortable working for white people rather than working for me, and that sounds humorous, but it's the truth, fine. This is according to audio obtained by Deadspin back in 2015. Some Black people are far more comfortable answering to a white person than a Black person, no matter how Black they like to pass themselves off to be. Far more comfortable because they know a white person is going to overlook their shortcomings. It's good for a Negro. I'm not about that. But if you're more comfortable working for a white person, I will find a white person for you to work for. We have a higher standard here. Everybody has to get on board with that, or I'm going to find a way to move them someplace else. That was Jason Whitlock. And then he went out and hired a senior writer and editor, Mike Wise, who's white. This is the man that's in charge of Black culture.
Did he just pull a Jason Black just now? Did he just demonstrate, if you want to know what Black people really think, put them in front of a white person, let them ask the questions? Did he just pull that? Tanya, you stop it. You stop it right now. You stop it. You stop telling truth.
Fuck out of here.
You stop it. You got to reinforce it, Black Spider. You got to reinforce it. You got to enforce it. People forget at times, especially with the delineation going on. People, they got to make sure. That's okay. Continue.
Why can I say that? And by the way, I'm not casting any aspersions against Mike Wise. I'm cool with him. I've always been cool with him. He used to work for the New York Times, used to cover the Knicks long before he moved on to the Washington Post. He's a credible journalist. I have nothing negative to say about him. I'm just saying, Black website, but you bring in your white friend. In part because Black folks didn't want to work for you. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, how serious I am? Am I? I have a contract that I negotiated with ESPN and I signed in 2015.
Record money.
I don't know of anyone who has this in their contracts. I had it in my contract, and I have a copy of it, where it specifically stipulates that I never work with Jason Whitlock. It's
So, Cat Williams said he had in his contract for First Sunday, I only will work on this movie if Ricky Smiley's in a dress, and they honored it. ESPN negotiate, and his agent negotiate, and lawyer, and negotiated the contract that said he would never work with Jason Whitlock. Nah, Denise, this ain't a cop being paid. Well, maybe. I mean, First Sunday came out when? 2007? This was 2015. I don't even know if he was privy to that, but that's crazy. You could put that in a contract. That's crazy. He said 2015. Wasn't he? I think that was Jason Whitlock's second stint at ESPN. That's crazy. Continue.
In writing. No wonder you didn't see him on First Take. You didn't see him on Undisputed with Skip Bayless either. Skip Bayless wouldn't allow him on there. You didn't see him on Numbers Never Lie either. Jamel Hill and Michael Smith wouldn't allow him on there. Christopher Broussard for Fox Sports and Fox Sports Radio. Let me take a moment to tell you about Chris Broussard. If Chris Broussard were not in this industry, do you know where he'd probably be? Probably, because I don't know for sure, but probably be, y'all, in a monastery. He's one of the most religious, God-fearing, decent human beings you will ever encounter. It doesn't get any better than Christopher Broussard. And he can't stand Jason Whitlock. Look around. Don't y'all notice why black people scurry away whenever this roach of an individual is around named Whitlock? Because we know what he is. We know what he is. Blaze TV. You may not know. Glenn Beck, Dave Rubin, the great one himself, Mark Levin.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You not finna do that. Now, this I had a problem with. Glenn Beck and Dave Rubin are racists and they're pieces of shit. Mark Levin literally let Thomas Sowell lie on black folks, which we played months ago. He ain't great. Easy, boy. Easy. You're not about to do this.
Hey, yo.
Mark Levin is terrible. That's why he can only get a show on Saturdays on Fox Nation. There ain't nobody watching Fox Nation. But all right, easy, Stephen A. Smith. We were riding with you like 10% of the time till you said that BS right there. Easy, bro. Easy, my Caribbean brother. Easy. It's about high time we start giving all these motherfuckers praise out here. And you know what I'm talking about? Not every Jewish person needs praise. We don't need to do that. It's okay.
TV to understand. I'm not talking about you. I know you're conservative. You're conservative. You know, I get all of that. I'm not judging accordingly. I know Mark Levin well. We have one another on speed dial. We talk all the time. The same applies to Sean Hannity, the Andrew Wilkows of the world.
Bruh. That we knew. But Jesus, now you name dropping Hannity. You're not making your case. But okay, keep going.
Okay, I talk to these folks. I'm not one of those.
What the fuck are you talking to Hannity off air? Never mind.
People that's married to one side or the other, and decent people are everywhere. Be careful that you don't get yourself stained and stenched by Whitlock. He can do that to people. He is the worst. He's not ethical. He's not moral. Clearly, based over what I told you about me, he's also not factual most of the time. He will lie. He will denigrate. And he will turn against anyone to serve his own good. The real reason, and casting no aspersions on what Blaze TV presents and what it has to offer, the real reason he's there is because he can't get a job anywhere else.
Hey, what y'all think about that? Put a 1 if you agree with what Stephen A. Smith said. Put a 2 if you disagree with what he said. I'm trying to see something. Well, who's gonna platform Jason Whitlock? Y'all gotta understand. He got fired twice. Well, he claims he left ESPN the second time. So you lost out on ABC. You lost out on Fox. CBS Sports is not exactly huge. Where else can he go? And again, he fancies himself so talented, he can't even do his own show without Glenn Beck's funding. And this is why I get at these people when they lose their jobs. I say, okay, you're a black person. You obviously called a following while you were on the air on White Folk platform. Why in the hell have you not taken that and gone on your own? It's not that difficult. Yes, you're going to have to put in some work. Yes, you're going to have to put in some financial resources. Yes, you're going to have to put in your time. But we see many a YouTuber on here with channels higher than you guys. They put in that work. So, yes, if you have the talent, you should be able to get your own audience. So I don't understand what the problem is. But we just know that if Jason Whitlock went on his own, nobody would pay attention to him. But all right.
He hasn't burnt bridges. He's napalmed them. Call Eric Shanks and Charlie Dixon at Fox. Call Jimmy Pitaro, Burke Magnus, Dave Roberts, Norby Williamson at ESPN. Call him. Call him. Call John Skipper at Meadowlark Media. I'm giving you names. I'm giving you names. That's just, I already gave you on-air talent names. I gave you reporters and on-air talent. Ladies and gentlemen, this same Jason Whitlock that wanted to talk smack about me is the same Jason Whitlock that wanted to hire me. It's the same Jason Whitlock that stood outside doors trying to get me and coax me into even having a conversation with them because they knew I was so disgusted with him, presumably after he hit a strip club, because we all know ain't nobody trying to go out with him. Okay.
Huh? What did you just say? Wait a minute.
Was trying to get me and coax me into even having a conversation with them because they knew I was so disgusted with him, presumably after he hit a strip club, because we all know ain't nobody trying to go out with him.
What? Steven, wait, whoa, what? I mean, Denise, we did see him. He talked about Stephen A. Smith for like how long, and he was out of breath. Huh? Jason Whitlock, you went to a strip club and then tried to talk to another man? What is going on, sir? What is this? What is going on? Everybody, wait, what? What? This is real? Oh, no. Don't tell me this is real. Family, Stephen A. Smith didn't lie. He didn't lie.
Come on with it. That's amazing.
Oh, my God. That man did not lie.
You know, let me go here. There's I'm gonna move on. There's a growing concern in
Whitlock is fixing to tell us the story. Now, I don't know if this is the same time period, but this does go in line with what he wrote in that article saying he had a sexual problem. But okay, let's hear what he said.
You remember Wayne Simmons?
Yes,
pretty
I do.
good linebacker, bad dude. He tried to jump on me at Diamond Joe's strip club in Kansas City one night. We were both out. I mean, he literally saw me and started running towards me and dove. But the owner, Joe Magnicina, you know, I was his favorite person other than Derek Thomas. And his bouncers tackled Wayne Simmons. But I say all that to say it happened. I didn't go to the team and complain. I didn't tell my editors and complain. It was all part of the game. It was the price of me being a butthole reporter. And that tension was good. But now that everything's moved to the internet, you're in New York, he's in Seattle, y'all chirping over social media. You never see each other.
Yeah.
And the athletes never get a chance to like say, you know, I will touch you, right?
Sir, you was about to get jumped in a strip club? Black Spider, I will remember that. You were about to get jumped in a strip club, and luckily you were there enough times where they actually protected you. By the way, did you hear what he said at the end? He said that you're in different cities and you can't get touched. Well, sir, Tyreek Hill dished you this morning or yesterday, as the case may be, and you got upset. Oh no. You think I'm lying? Because because of course he had to keep talking about Stephen A. Smith. This is the post he put up yesterday. Gonna be another sleepless night for Stephen A. Smith. I'm back in the lab fixing up tonight's episode of Fearless. Grab your popcorn. We're gonna listen to his response. So Tyreek Hill said, "Bro, you shouldn't be complaining on anything but snacks." You shouldn't be complaining on anything except snack. Commenting on anything but snacks. God, though. And then LeVar Ball said,
I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks. And going back to Whitlock, I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks.
Woo! The internet is a beautiful place, but it can also be a curse. Back to this.
Okay. The same Jason Whitlock, that guy, is the same guy that sent both Dan Lebertard and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, the two-time champion, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest point guards in NBA history, now working on NBA TV. That guy, that same Jason Whitlock, sent those folks to talk to me. Please, is there something that can be worked out? Can you forgive him? Can you talk to him? My words and my promise to them was that I want nothing to do with him. I will never hurt him from getting opportunities, but I'll be damned if I'm going to help him by being associated with him in any way. Do you know why I said that, ladies and gentlemen? As Black people, and I guess I was wrong. I should say at this particular moment in time, I was wrong to call him a fat bastard and all of this other stuff, because that's not my name for him. My name for Jason Whitlock is religiously Kane. See.
Funny thing, he mentioned Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. I gotta Shantae, thank you for the thank you for the cash app. I got Whoo. I apologize in advance, family, but I need y'all to hear some. No. How do y'all feel about the Black National Anthem? I never asked y'all that question, I don't think. How do y'all feel about the Black National Anthem? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. I never really asked Black people that question. Black Spider, thank you for $10 super sticker. Vic Stack said, "What's more entertaining, to be Smith or Whitlock or Cat Williams versus Steve Harvey?" Probably Cat Williams and Steve Harvey, because that's revitalized an entire industry. Most people aren't going to care about Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock until one of them goes on Club Shay Shay. I see this dying inside of a week, because y'all got to understand, you've got the NBA All-Star game propping up in the next month. In a few weeks, you got the Super Bowl coming. come this weekend, starting tomorrow, you've got Super Wild Card weekend. Nobody's going to be talking about this. Now, I'm going to predict somebody there at one of these games, they're going to say that Cat Williams line. Y'all know which one I'm talking about.
You having an unnatural allegiance to losers.
Yeah. One of them's going to recite something from Cat Williams' interview. Sean Tate said he grew up singing it. I mean, we sang it in my elementary school because it was an all black school, so we sang it there. The reason why I asked that was Jason Whitlock talked to Isaiah Thomas, and I kind of want y'all to hear what Isaiah Thomas said about the Black National Anthem. Fair use.
When you sing the national anthem and then you sing the Black National Anthem, the only thing that it does is it's emphasizing our separateness.
You and I have more access to the VIP room than a lot of white folks. A lot more access.
Can I stop you right there and tell?
I didn't realize that was something to brag about, but okay, maybe because I'm different. I didn't realize. All right, cool.
Tell you why? Now this is what celebrity gives you, right? Celebrity gives you the opportunity. And when I was in high school, a journalist like yourself, but who was of Caucasian race and classified as white, he wrote and said Isaiah Thomas transcends race. And I remember asking my sister, what does that mean? I transcends race. I didn't understand. So that's when you say, okay, you can go from the black wristband and get into the white place. Now, however, that doesn't mean that you still have the birthrights. They can still kick you out. Okay, that's why me and you we go in the VIP room and we get some champagne, but we come back out and we stay in that other room where we all at because we know we can get kicked out of that room. Because
the only thing I would say, Isaiah, is that and particularly you living in Chicago, you got to be aware of this. Is like, if we were writing down the list of the 10 most powerful people in America, right now, I think Barack Obama has to be in that list, and he doesn't have the wealth probably.
Okay, I don't want to hear him talk. I don't want to hear him talk no more.
And going back to Whitlock, I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks.
Oh boy, that clip will never get old. That clip will never get old. All right, Stephen A. Smith, more.
EAIN. You see, a lot of black folks, we talk about how we're the original man on the face of this earth. Well, that means Cain was the original murderer because he's the one, according to the Bible, who killed Abel. That's Jason Whitlock. There is nothing good about him. Absolutely nothing. And I challenge anybody that knows anything about him to refute what I'm saying. I have the facts. They're all here. I know what he's done. The biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes that John Skipper could have ever made as the former boss of ESPN was hiring that man. Everyone knows it. That's why he attacks ESPN. That's why he attacks colleagues and contemporaries in the industry. It's not just because he thinks he's smarter. It's not just because he's fearful of anybody smarter than him in the same room. It's not just because of those reasons. It's because he truly despises us all. It's who he is. And the funny part about it is when he sits up there and he says, I can't do this or I can't do that. Look, I'm 56 years old. If y'all think now that I'm successful in this business, that I got to sit here and lie about me playing basketball in high school to write in my own damn memoir. At this point in time in my life, I can't help y'all. I'm not going to waste my time with that silliness. What I would say to you, however, is this. I have a bestseller. Where's his?
We're not finna do that, sir. Come on. Don't start. Don't start. We've chronicled how they do that. Let's not do that. Let's keep it on the fact that you think he's a fat bastard. At most, I gave you credit for your IMDb stuff. I gave you credit because at least you was on TV and in movies, major movies. So take that. Don't start because now you're just gonna shill the book. I don't want to hear that.
I got let go by ESPN and they brought me back. They won't let him in within city limits. I'm telling you what I know. How the Fox thing work out? When he was on the air arguing with Christopher Broussard or arguing with Marcellus Wiley?
We have that clip, by the way. We have that clip.
What happened to him? He wants to talk about me. That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, he'd give anything to have my job. He'd give anything to have my resume. He ain't on ESPN. I got the #1 show. Where his show do? How's show do? You ever see this despicable dude on television? I'm not even getting into how difficult he is to look at. I'm saying, have you ever
He's a man. Oh my God, no.
Who wants him? I don't speak like this, ladies and gentlemen, but what else? What other explanation?
Wait a minute. Who did the close up? This looks like a meme. This looks like a meme. Yo, who did this? Oh man. This looks like a meme. We finna keep it though.
Is there other than his evil, vile tendencies, then you want to be me?
I can't do it, family. This looks like a meme. Why does his head look bigger than the rest of the body? So who did this? This feel like somebody else talking and he just put Stephen A. Smith head there. Y'all, what? Dwabi said what? Jason wears it until? Oh my God. Shout out to Dwabi. Oh, he says he wears a unit. Oh, yeah, I did see that. Oh my God, no.
Wish you were in this position, didn't you? Don't you? You wish you had the #1 show for 12 years, don't you? You wish you could do that, don't you? You wish you could be on national television every day, don't you? It ain't bragging. I work for it. Everybody else works for it. The only person out here trying to hurt people is you. You have literally made a career off talking about people in the industry who do what you do. In other words, you want to do it better. Then why don't you have a job outside of Blaze TV? Why are you at Blaze TV? Not to knock Blaze TV. But we know that's not where you want it to be. You want to be at ESPN. You want to be running a black website. You want to go to Fox. You want to be on television. You want to do all of these things. Jason Whitlock, what's up? Are you watching the show? I mean, it ain't Club Shay Shay where you break the internet with the Cat Williams interview, but I do pick up at least 1,500 subscribers per day. I am at over 460,000. I just started 9 months ago.
I mean, he's almost at 500,000 since this came out. So, you know, people love to hear dirt. Gotta give him his credit.
With my team. You've been at it, whether it's May of 2021 or July of 2021. You've been at it since then. I've already surpassed you. Sound familiar? Because of what I've been doing to you your entire career. You were a great writer. Your mistake was you started talking. And words wanting to be seen while you...
Woo! Wait a minute. Is Stephen A. Smith trying to drop ethers? Wait a minute. Say that again.
Sound familiar? Because of what I've been doing to you your entire career. You were a great writer. Your mistake was you started talking. And words wanting to be seen while you were talking. Which is why your quality and your value. Because when we see you and we listen to you, we know how worthless you are. This dude that, according to reports, literally tried to put a tape recorder under a hotel door to spy on what Allen Iverson was having to say. According to this article in Deadspin, he plagiarized one of his own editors.
Whoa. Uh-oh. Plagiarism. Continue.
Somebody with these credentials, with this history of iniquities, with this disgusting reputation, y'all want to listen to him talk about me? Fine, but let me leave you with this before I get on out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know why he's talking about me? Because I get him clicks. That's what he's been reduced to. See, this is a passion and a hobby for me. I have a day job that's paying me quite well. I own and operated this. This cost me money because I invested my own money with my new studio, with my staff, and with everything that I've done to do this. He's leaning on Blaze for a check because he can't find one anywhere else.
Oof.
I ask any of you connected to this industry from this point forward because I know they don't want to touch this subject because he's a bully and they don't want to deal with the fallout of him constantly coming at them. I don't give a shit. He came to the one. I know what he is. I have the emails. I have the articles. I have everything. I once tried to befriend this dude. I don't talk to him because he betrayed me, as he has others. He's turned his back on Dan Le Batard. He's turned his back on all of those other colleagues that I mentioned. Ask Jamel Hill about him. Ask Dan Le Batard. Ask Chris Broussard. Let me stop naming names. Ask anybody in the industry. I can give you the names of the executives if you want. All of them. At Fox, the executives, upon telling their subordinates that they were bringing Jason Whitlock on board, said, quote, "We'll all band together and stand on the tracks in front of a train to stop it, if that would prevent you from hiring him here." He is despised. He doesn't report anymore, y'all. All he does is make noise by coming after the very people who did and still does what he once did, what he aspires to do, but no longer has the outlet to do because he is considered a vile, despicable human being that no one wants anything to deal with. Nothing. That's who he is. I will not be speaking on him anymore. He's a liar. He's a piece of shit. My apologies to ESPN. My apologies to my family, my friends.
All right, that was it. That was basically, he was about to leave at that point. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. So that Chris Broussard thing that he talked about, we have it. Now, this was in regards to when LeBron had the N-word sprawled on that Brentwood home that he was renting, I guess. Yeah. Let's hear what he said. Fair use. We say that, bro. See, now y'all see why he's not a PR specialist. Y'all understand that. Let me tell y'all something. If LeBron James would have said that, he would have been destroyed to this day. Yeah, they wrote that on there. It was wrong, and the people that did, they're assholes. But you know what? I have a great life, so y'all can't bother me. He would be still getting destroyed. People would be playing that clip. What do you mean they cut? Oh, don't tell me they cut it again. You motherfuckers. Don't tell me y'all did that. If y'all did that, I'm going to be pissed off. It says it's still live. Well, let me see. They probably good. Let me see. I didn't even. Oh, Jesus. Well, there's that.